Has this ever happened to you?
Computer, give me a burrito. Computer, this is oatmeal. It's not even prepared oatmeal. I can't even eat it. There has to be a better way.
There is. Introducing IBM VoiceType 3.0, the software that allows you to talk, speak, utter, convey, converse, and vocally communicate and talk to your computer. In theory, that is. IBM VoiceType 3.0 was released sometime in 1996 with an MSRP of around $699, which would account to around $1,400 USD with inflation. Indeed, it was not a cheap product, but that makes sense when you consider it was made by IBM, which is probably one of the most brutally corporate companies to ever exist. So clearly this wasn't marketed towards your normal home user, but rather business types such as governments and enterprises. However, IBM did release a stripped-down version called Simply Speaking for $99 later on, but for all intents and purposes, we'll focus on the full-fat VoiceType version here. So you've probably already figured out what this is. It is a dictation software that allows you to translate spoken word into text, but perhaps more interestingly, it also allows you to control your computer using voice commands. These days, speech recognition is everywhere. You can talk to your phone to set alarms and ask questions that query an online world full of information. So this may seem run-of-the-mill in retrospect. However, in 1996, talking to your computer and giving it commands was still sci-fi level futurism to most folks. It makes me think of the scene from Star Trek IV, where the crew finds themselves in the 1980s and Scotty's trying to use a computer of the time period by talking to it.
Hello, computer.
For a time, maybe, it seemed like voice commands were the future of computing. At the very least, the idea was always intriguing enough to be used as a cliche in a lot of science fiction media. Obviously, there are many problems with talking to your desktop computer, which is why the future of everyone talking to their computer instead of just using a keyboard and mouse never really caught on. Not that that stopped Microsoft from trying to make everyone use it in Windows 10 with Cortana, but that's another story entirely. Interestingly, IBM has been into the speech recognition game as early as the 1960s when they presented the shoebox at the 1962 Seattle World Fair. This was a small, primitive computer that was capable of recognizing up to 16 spoken words that would respond to the user's voice using a series of lights as visual feedback. These days, IBM is still very much a player in the vocal recognition space, using their Watson AI speech-to-text system. The real question is, though, how do the modern versions of this tech compare to some of the old stuff that runs here on Windows 95? That is what we are here to find out. To do this, I have this unopened version of IBM VoiceType 3.0, and it's even the special edition, which has some extra content of some sort. Anyway, let's defile the cellophane shields of this box and see what's inside. So we get an abundance of boring corporate IBM baloney in the form of proof of ownership documents and manuals and whatnot that is appealing to me on some visceral level. In addition to the paperwork, we have 3 CDs. One with the VoiceType software with IBM antivirus, and 2 more with some special features for the interactive Jungle Book thing we will get into later. We also get everyone's favorite 90s beige microphone with the utmost quality, assuring you that the 700 clams you just dropped on this wasn't going into the accessories. For the ultimate experience, I decided to follow the instructions on the side of the box and use an official IBM MWave sound card. What could go wrong? So I installed the MWave drivers and the VoiceType software, which was easy enough. The biggest issue was the MWave sucks. After I worked through some IRQ conflicts and got it working, every time I would load up the IBM VoiceType software, it would crank the volume of everything to max and I would get this lovely sound. So eventually I said screw it to the MWave and started to realize that maybe the class action lawsuit against it I was reading about had some merit. So I used my onboard Crystal Sound Fusion here on my Vectra and move things along, but the MWave had one final act of revenge to commit on me in the form of a blue screen of death. So with some safe moding later, we finally made it into the VoiceType software. After a quick mic check, the software is usable right away. However, it requires training to be more accurate. I would argue that it probably requires training to be accurate at all, since without training, it gives you sentences that look like this. So before I demonstrate the software, it was time to train.
Now you're cooking with greasy cheese. Yeah, punch that wiener. Give it the old 1-2 wiener punch.
So that was some training, eh guys? Not sure how useful it really is for what we're doing here, but I am ready to go to use this software. So as you can see, the suite comes with a bunch of different programs and references and, you know, all kinds of things. There's also this getting started thing, which is a huge Macromedia thing. It's all interactive and it talks to you and stuff. I'm gonna put this on archive.org, the whole CD, so if you want to look at this other stuff, you can, but it's really long and boring and IBM-like. It might be right up your alley, but I'm not really going to get into it in this video. But the most important part is the enrollment, which is the training portion that I was talking about before. And I'm not kidding, it is no joke. It makes you talk or speak about 103 different sentences. And if you mess up at all, you have to restart. And that might not sound too bad when you think about it, but when you consider that you have to talk very slowly and announce each word perfectly, it gets to be a little long. The whole thing takes about an hour and a half to complete, just the dictation portion. And there's another part just for the commands, which I never did, but it seems to work well enough with the commands that I never really needed to do it. So that's the training. The training is no joke. Like if you had to do both of these, it would probably take you over 2 hours. I probably have already spent enough time in here. So let's go on to the more interesting parts of this software. So before we get into the more fun stuff, which is the controlling the computer, I'll show you the dictation. So it comes with a piece of software called VoicePad. But if you use the other software, I believe the VoiceType Direct, you can type into Word and other things, but just for this, let's use this. So I can do the dictation at any time by just saying, start dictation.
Start dictating.
I enjoy cheese on the beach in February. Stop dictation.
Dictation stopped.
Well, you might be thinking, well, that works, but maybe I can talk fast enough. Maybe I'm just being a doof. Well, let's see what happens if I say this top sentence like I would normally speak. So let's try it.
Start dictating.
I enjoy cheese on the beach in February. Stop dictation.
Dictation stopped.
Okay, so I guess that kind of proved me wrong. Maybe it just didn't like the way I said February. So let me just ramble on and see what happens. This computer I have here is a Hewlett-Packard, and I use it for most things here on YouTube, and it works pretty well for Windows 98 type things. So as you can see, it kind of comes up with a Mad Libs type thing. So we have distributor, I have year, is a few asteroid, Anna abuses foremost kings, year on you, and it works pretty well for Windows 98 type things. It gets things kind of right. I can't help but feel like maybe this would be a better chance if you indeed were from the UK and had the proper accent, but I do not. But anyway, let's move on to the voiced commands thing. All right, so one of the cooler portions of this software is probably the voice center. Now with this loaded, the computer is always listening to you, and you can start programs, you can give it commands, and all sorts of things. So if you click on here, actually we can just say it. So what can I say? That didn't work. What can I say? Okay, and it pops up with the types of things that we can say. So you can even, you know, not alive the microphone. I'm not gonna say it because it'll probably turn it off. So you have different programs that you can actually program in here to say. So I have a few that I have set to load. Duke Nukem doesn't work for some reason. It just breaks it. Oops, I didn't mean to load it, but One Must Fall does. So if I just click out of here, oh, it's off. So if I just click out of here and say, start One Must Fall. Start One Must Fall. There we go. It starts One Must Fall. And that was the first try, guys. Okay, that was not the second try. It works every time. Here, let's try it again. Start One Must Fall. See, it works every time. Brilliant. Okay. And then there's other things you can do with this. So I can just load any Windows program that's programmed into this. So I can say start calculator. Start calculator. Start paint. Start MS-DOS. I mean, come on, that's kind of cool, you have to admit. So in theory, you could actually control games with this as well, but not very well. Here, I'll show you with Dink Smallwood here. So now I can play games with just my voice, okay? Watch this. Move up. No, wrong button. How do I get out of this? Now I've done it. Okay, there we go. Move up. Huh? Okay. Move up. Move up, move up, move up. Control. Look at that. It's not very useful. Playing Doom with a guitar is probably more, whoa. All right. So I apparently hit some other button. And then that's the problem. You can set it to push to talk, but if it's not on that, it's just all the time, and it doesn't quite, it doesn't quite do what you want it to do all the time. There is a game that we can play with this though. So let's try the actual game that came with it, which is this Jungle Book thing. So let's do that. All right, so we have some neat, actually OPL music. That's kind of neat. But let's see what this is. This is the Jungle Book, and it comes with this software, so I assume it's some kind of voice command thing. So let's try it. So I assume this is an FMV type thing. Okay, I can hit spacebar to skip. Okay, good.
I suppose you're wondering what's going on. Well, you see that goofy Gibbon up there has got the key and he refuses to give it up. You see, the monk's got this lid-pippet idea in his head that in order to find King Louis's crown, he's got to teach you the language of the jungle. He wants you to repeat exactly what he says.
Okay. Do I really have to go? Is that really what's going on here? Are you're kidding me, right? Wow.
Aha! Good show. That's the entrance to Monkey City.
Oh yes, of course, Monkey City. That is, okay, can I do something here? Okay. Wait. Okay.
I am the spirit of the jungle.
Simba. Okay. The monkey lip syncing, I gotta say, is not very good here.
The jungle is counting on you. Let's go.
I'm just kind of curious, like, what kind of things it's gonna have us do with our voice.
That's instinct in the air. Pure, unadulterated instinct. Click on it. Oh well, don't worry. There'll be plenty more. There's tons around.
Okay, so you're supposed to be on your toes and, like, click things.
Jungle is a beautiful place.
So I feel like we've seen all that we need to see here.
Dangerous, especially if
Kind of interesting, maybe worth going through in like its own video, depending on how long it is. It's definitely interesting. And I'll be uploading this to archive.org if you guys are interested, but I think that's probably enough of this for now. Yeah, it looks just kind of boring. It also makes me wonder if, like, you know, when I made that monkey noise, if I could just say anything there, like if it's actually smart enough to know that that was a monkey noise, or I could just, you know, yell anything in the microphone. I'm kind of thinking that it's the latter, but I don't know. But anyway, that sort of sums up the whole IBM VoiceType experience. Maybe it works better if you have the proper accent, which I don't have. I could pretend the accent, but that would probably piss people off. But anyway, IBM VoiceType. It's a software that lets you talk to your computer from 1996, and I think that's kind of neat. If you find other things like this neat, maybe check out some of my other videos, or if you want to support the channel, you can subscribe or join my YouTube members or Patreons that you see here. But with that, I will see you guys in the next video.